Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone back for another live session. We'll just give it a minute whilst we're getting set up. Give everyone a minute to jump in. Quicker than usual today. Looks like we're ready to go. That's all good. We'll go live on Facebook, Instagram, and okay, perfect. Welcome everyone. Welcome everyone back for another live session. I feel like I'm a bit low on Instagram, but we'll make it work. What are we gonna do? We'll do it like this. Cool. Welcome everyone. It's going to be a good session today. It's going to be a quicker session today. So I'm going to be jumping through stuff and getting through stuff nice and quick. But we're going to be getting through a lot of useful, vital information. It's going to be a part two on when was it? Wednesday? Yeah, it was Wednesday, wasn't it? It's going to be a part two on Wednesday session. We're still figuring out what days lives are going to be. So I know Monday feels a bit random. We're probably going to do it on a Tuesday and Thursday, or maybe a Monday and Friday. Guys, let me know if there's any days that are better for you guys. I mean, we're here to do it whenever works best for you. So, yeah, today we're going to be doing a part two on gut health. So last time we spoke about, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, H. pylori, well, not even H. pylori actually, Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, IBS, mainly. So it's focusing on autoimmune gut issues. This half, part two, we're going to move, we're still going to touch on it, of course, but we're still going to be moving away from those autoimmune gut issues to be talking about things like bloating, acid reflux, um, ulcers. I said bloating, didn't I? So we're going to be talking more about the effects of these different autoimmune conditions and also different conditions that can occur just from dysbiosis, basically. And we'll be going and breaking down each of those causes. Jeremiah, thank you. Monday and Friday, noted. Yeah, if you guys have any preferences, Monday and Friday, okay. A couple of Mondays and Fridays. Cool. Noted. A couple of housekeeping points before we get into it. So, we have launched or updated the gut health kit. So before there was just a gut health kit, which was pretty vague. We had a bloating kit, but now we've refined that to make a gut health kit that covers ulcers, bloating, um, and I keep forgetting. There's two other ones in there as well. One second. Um, so we've got bloating, we've got H. pylori as well. That's what I was forgetting to say. Acid reflux and ulcers. So in terms of this kit, it basically comprehensively goes after the root causes of all of those issues. On the website, we outline as well exactly what the root cause of those issues to explain how the herbs go after them. I've also written a full guide that goes alongside that kit, so you can get that with the kit as well. So that is available on the website. We do currently also have 15% off for Black History Month in the US. Nice 15 on the website. So it's 15% off on for Black History Month on the website as well. Just BHM15. You can get that new gut health kit, get the guide that comes with it, and later today I will also be uploading the autoimmune gut kit. So that's going to be addressing Crohn's, ulcerative colitis, celiac disease, and IBS as well. So covering the full IBD, well, not the full IBD spectrum. There's things like the diverticulitis as well. That is almost the same root cause. So it would be covered by the probably Crohn's kit would be best for that one. But we're really trying to get specific and help you navigate better as well. There'll also be a joint health kit coming. We're probably going to have a rheumatoid and osteoarthritis kit coming soon. We're going to be more specific with the brain support as well. Right now, we just have the nootropic brain boost. We're going to be changing that to support with Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and maybe epilepsy. We'll keep it to that. So yeah, we're going to be trying to make things more straightforward for you guys. That's the aim. That's what's going to be happening over the next month. So much going on. We're going to be, well, I'm going actually to be live as well at 5 p.m. today with Philly J, in honor of the Health Hub that I will be speaking at on Sunday. So if you are in London and available this Sunday, we will be talking about detoxing do's and don'ts. So get your tickets; they're available. If you go to the post on our page, you'll be able to get tickets there. We're also going to have a stand there as well. So if you want to meet us and talk to us, Jade and I will be there as well. So we'll have a live at 5 p.m. on that. So you should be able to catch that as well. That's 5 p.m. UK time. PHC, could you send us an email? Because you should have received an email automatically, but there could be a reason it didn't get sent, or it might have gone to your junk. So if you send us an email so we know we've got your email, we can confirm that that purchase went through and sort that out for you. You should just email info@magictreesuperfoods.co.uk. Okay. Any other housekeeping points? We've spoken about the discount code. We've spoken about new kits. The kidney cleanse kit is also going to be coming next week as well. Hopefully, the herbs are supposed to arrive this week, which I'm super excited for. So we'll be looking to launch that next week. So keep an eye out for the kidney cleanse kit, the autoimmune gut kit, the new gut health kit, the joint kit, and the brain support kit. And I also want to do another autoimmune kit for things like fibromyalgia and lupus and yeah, so and eczema as well. So that will be coming. All of that will be coming. It just takes time. I want to write the guides. I want to make sure I'm actually supporting you guys in the best way. And it is just Jade and I. So there is a lot of work to do. And we're also looking to launch a new product and business as well. So lots going on at Magic Tree HQ. But okay, let's get into it. So today we're going to be talking about bloating, H. pylori, peptic ulcers, acid reflux. That's going to be the focal point of today's session. Okay. So what do we need to, well, actually, let's break down what we're going to be trying to achieve in the next 45 minutes. So I'm going to spend about 10-15 minutes talking about, the root cause of these issues. And then I am going to talk about the three biggest mistakes that I see people making when it comes to these issues. Then we'll probably do a giveaway, so stick around for that. We still do need to celebrate 900,000 followers on Facebook as well, so there will be something coming out for that. We also will then be ranking the different foods. So we'll be ranking the foods that affect the gut health issues we'll be talking about today. So that's when we'll get a bit more interactive. So if you have any questions, if you have any foods that you are eating that you're not sure about, if you have any foods that you think are great and you just want to confirm, then pop them in the comments. We'll be ranking them out of 10 and explaining why they are or are not good for you. And then we'll finish off with some Q&A if we've got some time. I know these last few lives have been a bit shorter because of time, but we'll try and get there. Okay, I think that's everything in terms of a housekeeping point. We've also got Jade with us today. So Jade will be Magic Tree Superfoods on Instagram, TikTok. She'll be Josiah_Matty on Instagram. And then she will be patrolling the comments on Facebook and YouTube for everyone there. Yeah, we're live on 4 platforms, so you can catch us anywhere. Okay, let's talk about it then. So let's take it one by one. It's probably the easiest way. Bloating. We'll start there. If someone is dealing with bloating or you are dealing with persistent bloating, what's the likely cause? What's the reason for that? Now, there's different types of bloating. There's different root causes of bloating. Fibroids would be a leading cause of bloating. If you have heavy periods, if you're a heavy bleeder, if you have incontinence issues, then I would recommend getting yourself checked for fibroids. A lot of women, and obviously if you're female as well, a lot of women have fibroids and they go undiagnosed and don't even realize they have them. So that's one thing, kind of off topic, but something if you're someone who deals with chronic bloating, I would recommend looking into. Also, if you are someone who is eating a lot of dairy, you're someone who's eating a lot of red meat, you're eating a lot of putrefying foods, acid forming foods. What's likely the root cause of your bloating is you're feeding the pathogens that are chilling basically in the top part of your small intestine, the duodenum it's called. So when you've got all these bacteria, viruses sitting in the duodenum, they release gases of their own. Now those gases can go back up into the stomach, they can flow back down into the small intestine, they can cause, that gaseous buildup can cause bloating itself. Those gases can change the pH of your stomach, which can release gases which can cause the bloating. Those bacteria can release neurotoxins, which cause inflammation in the intestines that can cause bloating. So lots of different reasons for the bloating, but ultimately it comes down to the bacteria in your duodenum. And I've seen someone ask, how can we flush that out? And yes, we can. We can flush that out. And, I guess, what's the word? Sneak preview. The answer is we need to get the fat out of our intestinal lining. That's the answer. And we'll get into how you do that. But, across the board, that's a persistent theme that comes up time and time again. So, what about ulcers? A lot of people, peptic ulcers, ulcers in the stomach, ulcers in the digestive tract, ulcers in the esophagus. What causes it? Why do you get it? Why are they so heavily linked with hiatal hernias? What's going on with ulcers? So essentially, the main two causes of ulcers would be, it sounds a bit counterintuitive, but weak stomach acid. And then the second reason would be H. pylori, which is a result of actually weak stomach acid. So let's talk about H. pylori first, because then it kind of ties into the H. pylori we're going to be talking about. So with H. pylori, you have a bacteria. Now, some will say that bacteria pleomorphosizes from bacteria in your gut and swims up through your small intestine, and then we can go through the pylori sphincter into the stomach, and that's how you can get H. pylori. Some will say you can eat it from foods, contract it from people, and the H. pylori comes down. In actual fact, the reality is probably it's both. And that's not really the point. The point is, once you have H. pylori, what do you want to do about it? So, to understand what you need to do about H. pylori, you need to understand how H. pylori moves. So, H. pylori operates by releasing enzymes like urease, protease, and these go into the stomach. And what they do is they create ammonia. Now, ammonia is a gas in the stomach. You might have heard ammonia in the context of leaky gut. You might have heard ammonia in the context of gut permeability. But ammonia is a gas that essentially tears through the mucus lining of the stomach. And it does that because it raises the pH of the stomach. So it actually makes the stomach more alkaline. Which, usually when we hear alkaline, we think, oh, that's good. I want everything to be alkaline. But be careful, it's stomach acid. And it's called stomach acid for a reason. Um, and that's a bit of a red herring because things like citric acid, malic acid are actually alkaline in the body. But you want your stomach acid to be nice and hot. Think of your stomach acid as a moat that protects everything that's going to be coming into your city. I like to use the city example, but think of the stomach acid as the moat. Now, you wouldn't want your moat to be a nice warm water, lovely palm trees, looks beautiful, everyone goes for a swim in your moat. That's not what you'd want. You want your moat to be as toxic as possible. Anything that steps into your moat dies. And that's what your stomach acid is supposed to be. When bacteria, when H. pylori, when E. coli, when streptococcus come into your stomach, you want it to die. And I know we need to start understanding there's a war going on. There's a war going on. The war going on inside your body, and we need to make sure our defenses are strong. And our stomach acid is essentially our first line of defense. That's the first chance you have to kill bacteria as it really enters your system. So when you have weak stomach acid, i.e., stomach acid that's too alkaline, stomach acid that doesn't burn hot enough, not enough stomach acid as well can happen, then what happens is bacteria can thrive in the stomach. And when bacteria like H. pylori thrive in the stomach, they colonize the stomach and they make the environment more inviting for other bacteria by raising that pH. Now, when your stomach acid is weaker, when you do eat that sushi roll, when you do eat that, medium rare burger, and those bacteria, that E. coli, that streptococcus enters your stomach, it survives. It's because it's not as hot as it used to be, and it survives. So now when you've got these bacteria in your stomach alongside the H. pylori, then they're secreting gases, which is making your stomach acid even weaker. Then when your stomach acid, the alkalinity of your stomach acid increases, your mucus lining in your stomach, your mucus is also alkaline. The contrast decreases. So the difference between your stomach acid and your mucus lining actually decreases. Now that's really important because the contrast is what keeps your mucus lining solid, essentially, or it keeps it resistant. Now when the contrast is less, they kind of merge into each other and it's easy to flow. And what that means is for the H. pylori, it's literally got a mechanism to corkscrew through your mucus lining. Now, when it gets behind your mucus lining, it continues to secrete more enzymes, which actually weaken your mucosive layer, and it allows it to swim through your mucus lining and your stomach even easier. Eventually, it continues chewing, 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 and it can cause ulcers. Now, that basically just chews right through your stomach lining. When you've got bacteria like Streptococcus and EBV, essentially it releases neurotoxins that inflame, 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 inflame. They cause incomplete digestion, I would say, where if when two people eat a burger, it's not the same thing that happens. Two people can eat the exact same burger, and one person can have all the ammonia, all the uric acid, all the rancid fats causing havoc in their system. Another person can digest it pretty cleanly. Most of the proteins break down into byproducts that are easy for the liver to get rid of. Not that toxic. Why? It depends on the oxygen availability for that digestive process. Now, when the oxygen availability is diminished, then what happens is you get all the toxic byproducts from that digestive process, which is obviously not what you want. But that is the nuance and the difference on why we can't just say one food is healthy, another food is healthy, because the system in which that food is being broken down in plays a massive role in how that food is actually digested. Okay, we kind of touched on it, but acid reflux. What's happening with acid reflux? So when acid reflux happens, essentially what you're dealing with is vagus nerve inflammation. Vagus nerve inflammation. So the vagus nerve runs from the brain all the way through to the gut. It controls the throat along the way, swallowing, talking, breathing, heartbeat, and digestive processes. It controls all of it. All of your autonomic nervous systems, the vagus nerve is in control of. It works in tandem with your adrenals, where your adrenals, where your adrenals are responsible for your sympathetic nervous system, and your vagus nerve is responsible for your parasympathetic or your autonomic, so your automatic nervous system. So when your vagus nerve is Lisa, I'll touch on that because that's a good point on this topic. When your vagus nerve is inflamed, what happens is you can secrete not enough gastric juices. So literally the amount of stomach acid, the volume of stomach acid cannot be high enough, or it could be too much. And when it's too much, what do you get? You get acid reflux because that your vagus nerve, it keeps pouring, the stomach glands just keep pouring juice into your stomach, and it's a bag, so it's only going to keep filling up, and eventually it can keep going through to your past your esophageal sphincter and start to burn your esophagus. You can start to get that acid reflux. You can start to get that heartburn. Other people will get a hiatal hernia when you're coughing all the time and your stomach starts to protrude through your esophagus, and that can also cause indigestion. So, thank you. God loves me. I like the name as well. So, yeah, that can happen as well. So they're not the same thing, and it's not that acid reflux causes a hiatal hernia or vice versa. And if you're dealing with acid reflux, that's easier to deal with than a hiatal hernia because a hiatal hernia is a physical issue. So we need to treat that differently. But yeah, okay, okay. So what are we? Let's talk about the. I think we've gone through all the points there. Hopefully that makes sense. If you guys got any questions, now's a good time to ask. Um, now's a good time to ask. Okay. Um, yes, good question. So let's go to three biggest mistakes. And if you've got any questions in amongst this, I'll try and tie it in. So I'll keep an eye out on the comments in J tier too. So CJ will get into that. We'll get into what's good when we get to the ranking of the foods. So yes, Lisa asked about, and I guess this is probably this is a mistake we could talk about. It wasn't one of the ones I had planned, but happy to talk about this. So Lisa asked, is autism a gut issue? And it's a great question. It's a nuanced question. Um, and the answer is sometimes is the answer. So, when we're talking about autism and we have spoken for hours about autism separately, But when we're talking about autism, what's most accurate to say is how they define autism is that it is a neurological baseline system. So the nervous system, I should say, of that autistic person is the hard wiring is different. So if you have any changes to your system because of metabolic issues, because of illness, because of environment, that's not true autism. So the problem is when you have any sort of autistic symptoms that can actually be healed or reversed, it's no longer defined as autism. So, can you have autistic symptoms as a result of gut issues? 100%. If you have a B12 deficiency due to methylation issues because of a sluggish liver, then you may have autism symptoms. If you have iron deficiencies because you've got a chronic EBV infection that's stealing all the iron in your system, you could have autism symptoms. If you have a metabolic issue, which means you've got chronically high insulin levels and you'll have a mitochondrial deficiency as a result, you could have autism symptoms. So, whilst these aren't direct gut issues, they can be, and I use the word can be because it can be genetic as well. But more often than not, it's a result of sluggish organs in the digestive tract, which create these metabolic breakdowns, which stop you or children from being able to absorb nutrients, which can then cause autism or autistic symptoms to be more specific. Okay. So, um, two other mistakes that I see when it comes to dealing with these issues. The next one has to be PPIs. Has to be PPIs. The amount of time. Sorry, Jay, do you mind just passing the charger? Or do I have a charger? Yes, please. The amount of times I see or speak to people who are dealing with gut issues, they're dealing with acid reflux, they're dealing with bloating, and I ask them, "Have you been given any medication?" And they say, "Yep, doctor's given me PPIs." I don't. To be honest, most people say I don't really take them, which is good. But doctors are diagnosing PPIs for daily use to lower your stomach acid if you're someone who deals with acid reflux. People that deal with acid reflux for every meal, they're recommended to to take a PPI every day. Now, let me explain why this is such a bad idea. What is a PPI? A PPI is a proton pump inhibitor. And in simple terms, it basically lowers the acidity of your stomach acid. Now, what did I say the stomach acid is for? It's a moat around your digestive tract. It's your first line of defense. So if you're taking a drug on a daily basis that basically weakens your moat, it shrinks your moat, it makes your moat more welcoming, less inhospitable. This is the complete and exact opposite of what you actually want. It's the complete opposite of what you want. So I would not recommend, in any sense, I would not recommend PPIs. I mean, let me not say that. If you're dealing with an ulcer, and you need to give it a week to lower your stomach acid to kind of not singe it, to basically keep it out the way, then there may be a role for PPIs there. But chronic PPI use is not something I'd recommend to anyone. The other one, Gaviscon. And I think what shocked me, I was in visiting a friend in hospital, and every single thing that was complained about, it was Gaviscon. Take Gaviscon. Even things that weren't even gut issues. Take Gaviscon. Do you remember what they were, Jade, with the Gaviscon?
What it causes?
No, when Joe asked for something and they said, um, oh, I don't even. I said they said Gaviscon, and it wasn't even a gut issue.
I
Nah,
remember,
never
I,
mind.
I remember the time of us thinking this is ridiculous, but I don't know
Yeah,
why it was ridiculous.
besides the point. So, when we're talking about Gaviscon, again, this is not something you should be taking every single day. I don't recommend it. What does Gaviscon do? It lowers the pH of the stomach acid. It also weakens bile. So we haven't even spoken about the bile yet, and that's probably point number three. But this is the opposite of what you want. And when you're doing this on a daily basis, this is when it can become a real problem for people. So yeah, number three, ignoring bile. Ignoring bile. Bile is probably the when it comes to digestive health, bile is probably the single most important thing. The most important thing. And I say that because we need to understand what bile does. Remember earlier I said, disclaimer, we need to stop the fat in the system. We need to get the fat out of your intestinal tract. That's what I said. Now, Bile is the key role of that. Bile breaks down fat in the stomach. Pardon me. Bile starts to break down fat. Bile is how you're able to absorb certain nutrients. Bile is how you are able to absorb fatty acids. Bile is how you are able to absorb fat soluble minerals. Bile is how you're able to absorb the fat soluble bioactive compounds in the herbs. Without bile, you fall apart. And that is not to say if you don't have a gallbladder, you don't have bile, because you still um, that no one forced you to be here, retired. And that is because bile is responsible for helping you to break down nutrients. So the role of bile in digestive health, it ties into everything. If you have bloating, it's because bacteria are sitting behind fat-lined intestine, so you need bile to help break that up. If you have H. pylori, actually bile plays less of a role here because H. pylori uses fats less, but it still helps to regulate. The problem is when you have weak bile, it means your stomach glands have to overcompensate and secrete more gastric juices to compensate for the weaker bile. And then when your stomach glands do that on a consistent basis, then they get fatigued, and then you get weaker stomach acid as a result. So the bile still does play a role there because essentially it's circling around to do what the H. pylori um, is aiming to do. Then for ulcers, again, we need bile because the fat is what combs the bacteria to create the gases that causes the ammonia for the bacteria. We need some patience, guys. We need to learn some patience. Actually, let me just touch on that. Retired. When you give 1 minute answers, well, the problem with giving 1 minute answers to these questions, these aren't simple issues. These are complex issues, and the reason why people are on this live, as opposed to just watching social media videos, watching 1 minute social media videos, is because in a 1 minute social media video, you can get the answer to your question, but you don't get a comprehensive answer to your question. You don't get the nuance. You don't get the opportunity to ask questions. You don't get the full rounded view, and that's probably the biggest problem in health today. People take sound bites. People think, oh, is it healthy? And it's like, it might be healthy for you. It's not healthy for you if you've got a different situation. People think bloating, ulcers, and acid reflux is all the same thing because we just talk about gut health. You talk about gut health supplements. You look at the pills, and it's for gut health. It's not about the specifics, and that's what this live session is about. It's about going into the details. It's about the people who are actually struggling with these issues, because I'm pretty sure if you're not someone dealing with if you're someone who's not actually dealing with a gut health issue, you're like, okay, I'll just do the sound bite. That's all I need. Give me the headline. That's all I need. Best believe if you're someone who's actually dealing with H. pylori and that antibiotic that they gave you isn't working, then you want the details. You want to know why that H. pylori is resistant. You want to know how it's working. You want to know how it's colonizing your stomach, how it's breaking down your mucosive lining, exactly what you need to break it down. Okay. Make it a good question, retired, please. Um, right. Okay. We've covered the three biggest mistakes. So let's do, whilst retired's asking that question, we'll do a giveaway. So we've only got about 15-20 minutes left. We'll do a giveaway, and then we'll move on to ranking foods, I think. Yeah. All right. So Jade, um, okay, so I'll retire. I'll answer that question. So yeah, Jade, do you want to spin the prize and see what giveaway is going to be today? To answer your question, are lactose enzyme pills good for people with lactose intolerances? Um, sure, yes, but no. If you're someone who has a lactose intolerant, I guess it just means you can't break down lactase very well, which is the sugar that comes from dairy products. So if you give yourself or if you nourish your body with lactase, sorry, lactase is what helps you break down lactose. So if you give your gut lactase, it's going to help you break down the lactose. However, you don't want to be eating dairy anyway. There's not much goodness that comes from eating dairy. So um, Sure, lactase will help you digest dairy products better, but I don't really recommend anyone to eat dairy products because there's no real added value. It's full of fortified minerals. It's casein, not calcium, so it's acidifying. It ruins the pH of your digestive tract. It lowers the pH in the small intestine. It raises the pH in the large intestine, which is the opposite. So yeah, I mean, if you want calcium, I'd say just eat broccoli, eat green vegetables. That would be a much better source of calcium that's digested better and used better. So yeah, sure. If you want to eat dairy and you're lactase, then go for it. And you're lactose intolerant, then go for it. But it's not something I would recommend. It's yeah. Okay. Have we got a giveaway, Jade? Right. Okay. It's going to be 80% off. So we'll try and sneak in another one before the end of the session if we have time. But Jade, I will let you pick the winner. You can choose any platform. Maybe let's do Facebook today because we never really. Actually, I'll let you choose. You pick whoever you want. You just let me know. Um, Okay, so 80% off, which means once Jade picks someone, they will get an 80% off code, which they can use for. Appreciate the self-awareness, child. um, yeah, 80% off code, which the winner will be able to use and stick around because we will try and sneak in another giveaway before the end of the show. Um, all right, running short on time. We've got 15 minutes, so let's actually give the people what they came to see. How can we actually start to reverse? Oh, so okay. So Retired said, I want it more for Greek yogurt. It's high in protein. So if you're looking for protein, I would say Satu powder is my go-to. Satu powder is basically just blended chickpea. It's really cheap. It's about 30% protein. Spirulina is another really good source of protein. Obviously, you're not going to be eating, 30, 40 grams of spirulina, but you can get a good 10 grams of spirulina in, and 60% of that is protein. You don't really want to be protein, I mean, unless you're a bodybuilder. I mean, we're talking about healing chronic issues in this channel. So unless you're a bodybuilder or you're someone who's trying to actively put on muscle, you don't really need to be prioritizing protein. If you get your satu powder in, if you get your spirulina in, and you're just doing animal protein 3 times a week, you're going to be hitting your protein. If you're getting your beans in, if you're getting your chickpeas, your lentils, you're going to be hitting your protein. That's how I would recommend it. I'm not saying doing Greek yogurt is going to kill you. I'm not saying eating red meat is going to kill you, but that's just how I would recommend it. But okay. Amzi, do you know why CMOS would cause extreme dizziness? The most likely reason CMOS would cause dizziness is you are hyperthyroid. So the iodine is causing you to overproduce thyroid hormones. The second reason would be it's part of the detox process, you're doing it too much, you're over detoxing. So toxins are being released from the liver, they're flying through the bloodstream, you're reabsorbing it, and it's causing you to feel dizzy, or having to reprocess those toxins. Those would be the main. Obviously, there's other things. You could be intolerant. There could be a certain mineral oversupply, but generally, those are going to be the main 2 reasons. I'd recommend halving the dose and see if you still feel dizzy, and getting checked for hyperthyroidism. Okay. Um, Jay, jump in whenever you pick someone.
I said next comment when that was commented
You didn't say that.
on Facebook.
Oh, right. Sorry, I wasn't on
Yeah.
Facebook. Um, I can't see that.
Oh, you can't see it.
No. Oh no, yeah. Sorry, I've just seen it. All right, cool. All right, we'll give Facebook seems too quiet today, so we'll give Facebook 1 more minute. Otherwise, we'll roll it over to Instagram and TikTok and see it there. In fact, you know what? Let's make it fair. We'll roll it out to all 4 platforms,
Okay.
and we'll just do it now. So, what's the next comment?
Comment 80% off.
Okay, so the first person to comment, okay, the first person to comment 80% off on any platform will win the 80% off code. So, yes, and that applies to all platforms.
Cool. Let's see.
Let's see, and
There we go.
winner.
Ding, 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 winner.
Is it Lady Roots?
No,
Oh,
Suzanne.
Suzanne. Okay, nice. Well
Yeah.
in there. Sharp. Good job, Suzanne. Jade will send you an. email to receive that code. Congratulations. Um, I've just seen comments about liver. Can we talk about liver? Janine, we actually got the kidney cleanse kit launching literally, hopefully next week. So we'll be doing probably 2 live sessions to talk about the kidneys because that has been probably the hottest requested topic for the last 6 months, and I've been trying to get a kit launched. It's nearly there. Sword and trumpet, yes, do send us don't send us a DM, send us an email, send it to info@magictreesuperfoods.co.uk and we'll be able to get that sorted. Um, so yeah, resilient trust pod. Um, One thing I'm going to request is bundles. You receive a leaflet, how and when to take each. So we're actually updating the boxes. It's going to have a QR code. We're waiting for those to arrive, but that's hopefully going to make it simpler for everyone. For the kits, we do actually send a online guide of how to use all of the herbs, lifestyle guidance as well. So yeah, that's all there. But anyway, let me try and I know I've kind of gone in a bit of a tangent.
I responded to him about where to find the website.
Okay, so we've got 15 minutes, so let's go through the herbs. Let's rank these foods. So if anyone has any, so Lima, as I said, we'll be doing a kidney session next week. For anyone who is eating foods and would like their food ranked or rated, then please do let me know. For anyone who Shahrazad, we do have a nootropic brain boost, which is best for flat mood, lion's mane, brahmi, ashwagandha. So you can check that out on the website. Yeah, so if anyone has any questions about foods they're eating for gut health, I think I've seen kefir come through. I think I saw a question about I think kefir. I saw a few, but
Yeah,
kefir is the one that
someone said
popped up. So yeah, get your comments in, and we'll be ranking those. Um, Jade, I'm probably going to need your help to go through those.
Yeah, that's
So cool. All right. Kefir. Let's start there. So kefir, I would probably give it a 4.5. And just for everyone new here, the way my scale works, and it's that my scale. My scale is 5 is it's not doing anything either way. 7 is it's a good thing to incorporate regularly. 3 is you should not be doing this very often at all. And 1 is never do this. 10 is do this as often as you can. That's kind of how the scale works. So I would give a 4 to kefir. It's not good. It's not as bad as say milk, which would score a 2. It's not as bad as butter, which would score a 2. It's not as bad as cream, which would score a 1. But it's a 4 because you have less of the negative byproducts in the form of kefir. It does there's less what's the word, lactose in it, I believe. So it's not as bad, but it's still not nourishing the gut microbiome in the way they say it is. It's still acidic. It's still toxifying. It still messes up the pH of your digestive tract. It's not something that's healing. No one's going to heal with kefir, so it's not something I'd recommend. Similar with sauerkraut, or kimchi. If I was giving cabbage an 8, I would give is kimchi cabbage or something else?
I think it's fermented cabbage.
Fermented cabbage. So yeah, if kimchi, I mean, it's more of a hypothetical here than saying specifically kimchi and cabbage. But if kimchi is an 8,
Yeah.
sorry,
Napa cabbage or Korean radish.
okay. So if cabbage is an 8, kimchi would be a 5. Probably not doing much either way, because kimchi is acidic, and when you have acidity, all the probiotics, all the prebiotics that come from that are dead. They're not alive because they've been pickled for the last however many years. So that's why they don't score as high as their whole fruit natural form. Chicken soup, I've just seen. I'd probably give,
It depends how it's made.
yeah, it depends what's in it. If you've got a chicken soup that's full of potato, sweet potato, maybe a
No
bit,
dairy.
huh?
No dairy.
No dairy, maybe a bit of quinoa. I mean, I don't know why I would, but maybe a bit of quinoa in there, maybe a bit of cabbage leaf and things like that. Then sure, it's gonna rank a 7 because the chicken itself probably ranks a 5 or maybe a 4.8. So it depends what's in it. If it was just chicken stock, water, and chicken, then it's probably gonna rank a 4. And the stock would probably bring it down to a 3 because of the MSG that's likely in that stock. White rice will give that a 3.5. Well, maybe a 4 because there's no gluten in white rice, but it is very starchy. It does break down into a form of glucose that acidifies very quickly with toxic byproducts. So A 4 is what I'd recommend.
Someone asked about grass-fed, pasteurized, fermented dairy.
That's a still a 3. Still a 3. All that other stuff, it doesn't change what dairy does inside the body. It's better than, crappy, cheap milk, sure, but it's still feeding the viruses, it's still feeding the bacteria, it's still messing up the pH. So yeah. Yam, I would score a 7. So rich in minerals, good for the adrenals as well, good for the vagus nerve, so it helps with the bloating issues, helps with the any methylation issues you might have. So I'd give it a solid 7. Someone said white rice is dead food. That would be correct. People, oh, what about brown rice? If white rice scores a 3, brown rice scores a 4, just because it has more fiber. But it's still higher in arsenic, and there's nothing really healing about rice. But if you are talking about the grain family, well, this is actually a fruit technically, but quinoa would be the best option. Quinoa would score an 8, because it doesn't do all the things that rice does. It doesn't break down into sugar in the same way. It doesn't acidify the digestive tract in the same way. It is rich in minerals to actually help it break down properly. So amaranth, quinoa, those would be your best grains. Is caffeine bad for the gut and skin? So the issue with caffeine is that it raises cortisol. And we know that, caffeine, cortisol, stress. Problem with cortisol when it raises, the problem with cortisol when it rises is that it takes blood away from your digestive tract. If you're ever nervous about a big presentation, if you're ever nervous about, a sporting event, what's the first thing that goes? Your appetite, because blood moves away from your digestive tract. And what you want is blood pumping to your digestive tract. You want it working nice and fast and efficient. So I wouldn't recommend caffeine. And also, when you take caffeine 2, 3 times a day, you chronically overstimulate your adrenal glands, which chronically messes up your cortisol regulation, but it also chronically messes up your peristalsis, which is how food moves through your digestive tract. And your vagus nerve messes up too.
A season favorite, ACV.
ACV will score a big 3. Great for weight loss, but if you're thinking about chronic health, it pickles the liver. So I wouldn't recommend that.
Sauerkraut.
Sauerkraut would score the same as the kimchi, which would be a 5. Not something I'd recommend, but not going to be the worst thing in the world. What I did find quite interesting actually was traveling around different places, and you see how some of these foods affect different people. So seeing the amount of fermented foods in the East Asian diet, seeing the amount of corn in the Colombian diet, seeing the amount of red meat in the Brazilian diet. It's interesting. It's interesting in how you see that reflecting people, how you see kind of, every country has its health issues predominantly, and it's interesting to see a mirror of that. Anyway, slight tangent. Sorghum's actually really good. Sorghum was scoring 8, and that's probably the best. If you're looking for bread alternatives, you're looking. A lot of people say spelt flour. Sorghum is actually the best thing that you can use.
Someone said which yam?
So before I get into that, not specific. Anything that kind of comes out of the ground and is a root vegetable, yes, there will be differences. Not all sweet potatoes are the same. Not all regular potatoes are the same. Cassava isn't the same as potato in terms of mineral content, but they're all going to be scoring above a 6 is what's crucial. So if you're eating any of those, then you're doing yourself a favor. Sweet potato probably ranks highest, but yeah.
Cauliflower.
Cauliflower scoring 8, great detoxing option, activates the detox pathways in the liver. I would strongly recommend cauliflower. I would strongly recommend broccoli. What would score a 10 would be broccoli sprouts. Great for detoxing pathways, great for knocking down H. pylori because it's rich in sulforaphane. Manuka honey would be great for knocking down H. pylori as well. Celery juice would be great for knocking down H. pylori. Someone said, so Campervan Adventures, wild rice is natural and untouched. That doesn't make it healing. Just because it's natural doesn't make it healing. And that's a bit of a misconception that we have.
Sourdough.
Sourdough is better than, regular gluten, off-the-shelf, Kingsmill bread. But it's not a healing food. So it still scores a 4. If someone eats sourdough every day for the rest of their life, they're still going to be high in well, I guess eventually behind gluten because it does still contain gluten. It's still inflammatory. There's nothing healing about it, which is why it can't score higher than a five. You know, particularly in this social media world, we get caught up on when people say it's a better alternative, i.e., spelt flour is better than regular flour, or brown rice is better than white rice, or wild rice is better than brown rice, or kefir is better than milk, or dairy free is better. We get caught up in just because it's better, that doesn't make something healthy. Better doesn't equal healthy. Healthy isn't the same for every person. So it's more, is it right for you? If you've got gut issues, and these rankings change. If we're talking about brain health issues, these rankings change. If we're talking about kidney function issues, these rankings change. If we're talking about metabolic issues, these rankings change. And that's why you've got to be specific and understand, your situation and what's working for you. Okay. Um,
Any more?
sorry?
Any more?
Yeah, we'll do a few more.
Flaxseed.
Fl-
Sorry, flax oil.
Flaxseed oil, I'm
Oil,
guessing. That would be
yeah.
flaxseed oil. Flax seeds would be better rather than the oil. It's not bad, but flax seeds would be better.
Chia seed.
Chia seeds are good. Chia seeds would be an eight. They help bulk out the stool. They help, good source of soluble fiber, rich in minerals. It's something I'd recommend.
Green tea.
Merce, I think it's Merce, well, Merce Navarro, helped me with colitis recommendations. I know I didn't post the last live, which spoke about colitis. I'm going to be posting that after this session, so keep an eye out for that. And we've got the full breakdown. We will also be launching a colitis kit on the website as well. So if you go to the website later today, you should be able to see that there. Um, Okay, milk thistle would be another 9 out of 10. Nourishes the liver. We haven't really spoken about the liver so much today, but we spoke about bile. And where is that bile made? The liver. So the liver is always super important. So yes, I would recommend milk thistle because it nourishes that liver. What is the healthiest oil? It's a good question. I'd say olive oil, triple virgin olive oil. Avocado oil is pretty good. Coconut oil is good, depending what you're doing with it. Whether it's being drizzled over a salad, whether you're cooking it, whether you're drinking it direct. The best oil would be black seed oil, but I wouldn't recommend cooking with that. Coconut oil is a better oil to cook with. Olive oil is the most gentle oil, and kind of healthiest oil from that perspective. So yeah, Rock and Roll Prince, this is exactly what I'm saying. Not good for everyone. This is what we need to get into our head. Just because something is good for someone else doesn't mean it's good for you automatically. Just because I'm saying something is healthy, if you're eating it and it's not, and you're not responding well to it, okay, there could be some nuance because it could be bacterial pathogenic die-off, which is causing that inflammatory response. It could be a histamine issue, which is causing that itching. But don't take things as gospel, is what I'm saying. Interrogate, question. Someone asked what are the 8 and 9 foods, which is a good point. Let's summarize. So milk this would be an 8. Jade asked about green tea. The caffeinated green tea would probably be a 7 out of 10. Very good. Moderates, rich in antioxidants, helps digestion, and moderates that adrenal gland. So what did we say? Kale would be an 8. Broccoli sprouts would be an 8. Sweet potato would be an 8. On a relative scale, if you are a protein eater, it's not an 8, but the best protein you could eat would be animal protein you could eat would be salmon. So it probably scores a 5, but it's better than every other one, which is why on a relative scale it scores higher.
And recommendation for the best oil.
I did that one already.
Ah,
Avocado would be a really good source of fat, as we're talking about fats now, moving to animal proteins. Avocado probably scores a 7. Nuts would score a 7. So these are good sources of fat. Legumes, beans. A lot of people overlook beans. I'm not talking about baked beans from the tin. I'm talking about kidney beans, butter beans, black beans. These are all really good foods. They correct the pH of your entire system. And they nourish you with minerals that you need, protein as well. Very good source of fiber as well. So I would definitely recommend beans.
quick one. Just to maybe explain, because this person said chia seeds are not good for everyone though. So maybe if you want to just explain how you rank and what you actually mean in terms of.
I mean, they'll be good for most people. They'll be good for most people. So I guess it's not yeah, I kind of touched on that one already, to be fair. No, most people react very well to chia seeds, and it's beneficial for most people. Um, okay. trying to think now. We've gone through everything. Any challenges? Have we? No, we'll start wrapping up then. It needs to be up at 4, not 3. All right, guys. I'm gonna wrap it up here because I've got a call at 3. So, I appreciate that, Rock and Roll Prince. We do post them all. I'm not expecting you to go through and watch all the hours back, but they are all posted. Seems like Mondays and Fridays seems to be a bit of a consensus for people. Fridays may not always be possible because we do try and have a social life. um,
Like this time on Friday.
yeah, this time on a Friday should be pretty doable, to be fair. So yeah, I know we've got a global audience, US and UK and all over really. So we're trying to find a time that works best for everyone. This time looks to be a nice time for people and nice engaged audience. So that's great. I guess early morning start for those of you in the US. Hey Tyreek. Early morning start for those of you in the US and Canada. So good to see everyone. But yeah, we're gonna wrap up now. So yeah, just to remind everyone, the gut health kit has launched on the website. There will be another gut health kit coming later today. So that will be the autoimmune gut kit. That's going to be covering Crohn's. It's going to be covering ulcerative colitis. It's going to be covering celiac disease as well. There's another one which I've forgotten off the top of my head. IBS. We've just launched the gut health kit, which covers bloating, peptic ulcers, acid reflux, and yeah, it's hard to remember all those. So yeah, check that out on the website. They're not live on TikTok Shop yet. So yeah, do check them out on the website. I know I've got some Ask Me Anythings to respond to as well, so I will be getting back to those. I will also be live again in 2 hours' time with Philly J, talking about our Health Hub talk that will be happening on Sunday. So if you are based in the UK, if you're based in London, I would highly encourage you to get yourself down there. It's going to be a great day. Lots of holistic practitioners, all about the doctor of the future, which is you. So how can you maintain control of your health? How can you take back control of what is being taken from you from a system that is out to get you in those shorter words. So that will be in London in King's Cross, Rock and Roll Prince. So I'm going to be a headline speaker there as well. So that's going to be exciting. We are also going to have a stand there as well, so you can get the herbs in person, gives you a chance to talk to us as well. We're going to be there all day. Tickets are available on where are they available, Jade?
I will pop it on stories again, but
Yeah.
we have a post on our page.
Yeah, there's a post on the page. If you scroll down a little bit, it's one of the only static posts we have. So you can check out some details there. And then Jay's going to make a story later today. And I'm also going to be on live at 5 p.m. talking about it as well. So that's 2 hours time if you're in a different time zone. Then, yeah. So, yeah. All right, guys. Appreciate everyone. We'll be back on probably Friday. Yeah, probably Friday. I'm going to have a haircut, which is very exciting. Very exciting. So yeah, we'll speak on Friday and appreciate everyone and hope that was useful for everyone.
Sorry, just quickly to AJR, we opened up the competition to all platforms. The first person who commented was on TikTok, so they won the giveaway. But join us next time because we do a giveaway.